Jack here, JBF Music and Guitar Lessons, back with some iconic and underrated guitar solos for you. Tabs are up on my patreon.com if you want them, but let's have a look at the two Andy Cairn solos from Therapy's 90s rock classic, Screamager. We're starting off by hitting the open E and fretting the same note in the B string, that 5th fret. So this gives us a sort of manual chorus type effect without even having to use a stomp box, maybe a bit like a 12-string guitar. A bit like She Sells Sanctuary by The Cult. Tab for that intro with a little I up there. But I'm just using a simple down-up strumming pattern here. The next bar we slide up to the 8th fret, you're still letting that open E ring out. Now here Andy might be picking the B string then the E and letting them ring out like this. But I think he's just strumming them both, and because the downward strokes hit the B string first, that's more prominent, and the E string on the upstrokes, so it sounds a wee bit like you're picking them, even though you're strumming them. Again, just adjust this stuff to suit your own rig and how you hear it. I've tabbed these two open strings in the last 8th note. I'm not too sure if it's necessarily there, but if you watch him live you'll tend to do this, so it gives you a bit of time to get back to the 5th fret. So you notice there, the final beat of that bar, we've just got those. And what this means is you can slide up, and then use these open strings to get back down here without having to slide as well. You might have noticed a wavy line up there on the tab, so when you're comfortable with this, try adding in a tiny bit of vibrato on the B string. Very subtle, but it helps give it a little bit more edge. If that feels difficult, check out my top vibrato tips video, I'll link to it with a little I up there. So let's go through both those bars one more time. Bar 3 is just like bar 1. So no need to dwell on that. Then we've got these semitone bends. The open E string might be hit here, it might not be, it's up to you. But bending that 7th fret a semitone, only partially releasing it, maybe a quarter tone, then bending it back up. If you release it back to being totally unbent, it doesn't sound quite right. Well, to my ears anyway. So I'd suggest, as I say, the full semitone bend. Dip it just a little bit, hit the string again, and bend it back to pitch. We're then up at the 9th fret with a really similar idea. You might even want to consider sort of pre-bending the first one you hit here to make it a bit more consonant, because we're playing a pretty out note here. It's going to feel pretty tense against the back end, but because you bend it quickly, it's kind of 6 1/2 dozen. But as I say, same idea, bend it up a semitone. Maybe dip it by a quarter tone, hit it again, bend it up, and release. So, bars 3 and 4. You repeat the whole thing and end it on a C5 power chord. Andy just plays these 5th frets live. Do what you prefer. So the whole thing once more for good measure. Main solo time, and the good news is that the first half is exactly the same as intro. It's just on the second time repeat, indicated by that little 2 up there with a kind of right angled line, that we shift up a gear. Using a similar bending idea before, so we're going to do a semitone bend on this 9th fret, a tone or maybe even a 3/4 tone bend on this 10th fret, semitone on the 12th. And when you're going up here, you want it to sound as fluid as possible, sort of sliding between the bends and making sure to keep your finger on the string. So you don't want to release your finger off the B string, you want to keep it on and slide up. These bends can be a bit off as well in terms of intonation. That happens in the studio version, and it only kind of reinforces that yearning sort of vibe that the song does so well to create. As a side note, you might want to experiment with hitting the open E string on these bends as well. So even the 7 and 9. And then this final one here. I don't think it's in the studio version of the solo though, but he seems to sometimes do it live, and it can add in a bit more beef and raunch. It might just sound sloppy to you, use at your own discretion. In this last bar we're bending the 15th fret up by a full tone 3 times. The open E might be in here, it certainly is in some of the live versions. So just hitting the open E string at the same time as that bend. It's also possible in the studio version that Andy did a uni bend. More on those double stops with the I up there, but I'm holding the 12th fret on the E string, whilst bending the 15th fret up a tone. So let's go for bars 11 and 12. So your target pitch is just to clear this up, or this one. But bending from these notes. In terms of the technique, I'm exclusively using my second finger, and this is because when it comes to these bigger bends up here, you can simply reinforce it with your first. So let's just go once around that solo for good measure. Cool, and finally I'm just going to do a quick run through of the effects change for those of you interested in that kind of thing. This is my kind of my dry signal where I've just got the amps on. So you can kind of clean it up a little bit. With a bit of pot control and that kind of thing. If you play out kind of medium strength, a bit of dirt, and if you dig in, it's a fairly heavy sound. So what I've got in front of this is a drive pedal. hear there, it's just beefing out the signal quite a bit. Add in a bit of the kind of more low mids, I suppose. After that, I've got a bit of chorus on. So you can hear there the chorus effect over the notes. Clean it up a bit more. I've also got a delay after the chorus that's set to about this speed. So it's maybe got about 2.5, kind of 3 tails going on. So you don't necessarily hear it that much when the strings are playing like that, but it adds a bit more depth to the bends. It sounds a bit more exposed when you've not got it in a band mix, but I think it works together when everything else is playing. And then finally, what I've got is a tiny bit of a chorus kind of just at the end of things, just to tidy it up a bit more. So for reference, I would play some chords. If you enjoyed this and you also like the darker, more kind of grimy stoner rock side of Therapy, you might want to check out this Josh Holmes secret scale video. This has been Iconic and Underrated Souls, that's the playlist there. But yeah, hit subscribe to keep up to date with the channel, leave me a comment, check out the tabs on my Patreon, and enable all notifications by ringing that little bell on the side if you feel so inclined. Cheers guys.